All right, good day, gentlemen.
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
All right, so today we're going to be discussing, the McDonald's strategies. But anyway, we are with the COO of the ABC Auctions,
right.
and he's going to be talking about strategies, team building, and the processes.
100%.
So I will just introduce you, but I'll give you a room to introduce yourselves. So this is Mr. Kiaran for the viewers, the COO of ABC Auctions, and to the far end is Mr. Gandari, our strategic partnership manager. So Mr. Kiaran, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Well done.
All right. So Mr. Kiaran, can you tell us who Mr. Kiaran is and the ABC Auctions or in the business world?
Sure, no problem. I'm Kiaran Knight. I am the COO of ABC Auctions. ABC Auctions is a very old company. It's been in Zimbabwe for more than 50 years. We have branches in Harare, in Bulawayo and Lusaka. The auctions is the nucleus of everything we do, but there are other things that we've started and reached out to do to become the connectors of buyers and sellers. It's traditionally about what's being sold from your company or in your home, or maybe a vehicle. But we realized in the last few years, especially having gone online, our business is completely online now, that we've attracted a huge community and we can do more to help that community. So we've launched other initiatives. So we have ABC Money Lenders, which is a microfinance based out of ABC Auctions. We have ABC Connect, which is a business networking business. It hosts monthly events, and we've done over 60 events now in Harare, in Bulawayo and Lusaka. We go out to other people's branches, introduce their businesses to a community of 40 to 50 people, and we force them to do some speed dating networking to connect people's businesses to each other. I think business is still very much done by people with people. And then we have ABC Reach, which allows your businesses to advertise on our community network so that you can reach our 156,000 customers. And we're trying to grow. And my job as COO is to make sure that the business is running, to make sure that we are becoming resilient, to make sure that we are staying profitable, and that we're creating more opportunities for us and our clients.
Okay. All right, so Mr. Gandari, can you really tell us who you are in the Skyline Studios and maybe in the business ecosystem, since you're also into business?
Okay, so I am Ngoni Gandari. Right now I am into farming and mining, and so actually I'm still starting. The scale is too small, but there's always room for growth. And so yeah, that's basically what I'm currently doing right now. And then I'm still in school, and yeah, everything is going on well as planned so far.
Okay. So, Mr. Kiaran, since you're the Chief Operations Officer, COO of ABC Auctions, what are the greatest mindset shifts to really say you want to stop thinking like a hustler in Zimbabwe, just like everyone else is doing in the Zimbabwean economy, to informal, no processes, no teams? So what's the key mindset shift to stop thinking like a hustler and to start building processes, to start building teams, and to start working like a professional organization?
Fair. Okay. So where does the first thing you need to do is understand where the nature of hustling comes from. If you look through economies and nations through time, the need to hustle, short-term trade in whatever you can get your hands on often comes from the root of poverty. Is that there's opportunity, but maybe your point of reference or your exposure tells you that the best thing I can do is eat today. Right? Yeah. There are very few African languages with a definitive word for future. If you think through Shona, you think through Ndebele, you can go to Nkosa, you can go all the way up to Swahili. There aren't a lot of definitive words given in any African language that mean future. Day after tomorrow, 100%. That's there, right? But the nature of hustling comes from, I don't have anything today. What can I do today that allows me to get to tomorrow or tonight? So, not to say that that's all hustling, because everything evolves. But when you evolve that mindset from, I have got some tomatoes and I can sell the tomatoes, and the profit I make, or never mind profit, just the money that I get, because I can't do much with this tomato, I can now use to do something else. That graduates. And then you go, I sold a tomato yesterday and I can sell another 5. And if I sell 5, the cash I get, I can do a little more. And then you realize I can grow tomatoes. And if I grow a lot of tomatoes, then I can sell a lot more tomatoes. And that goes to, now I've got too many tomatoes for me to sell. Let me give tomatoes to my friend to my left and a friend to the right and say, there's tomatoes. Now you go sell and I'll take a piece. Sounds familiar, right? That's how we've all known since being children. If you sold sweets at school or something like that, that's the nature. That's a hustle. When does a hustle become a business? A hustle only becomes a business not at scale, because I can show you hustlers who are doing huge volumes of trade on a daily basis. Hustling becomes a business when the person makes a decision, that's where we talk about your mindset, to make sure that this can be done over and over again to reach a greater goal than how do I get some money for tonight? Because you surpassed that, right? The volume's higher. Hustling is incredibly valuable for nations like Zimbabwe because it takes people with limited exposure to opportunity, with limited exposure to potential, and allows them to start something. Have you sold something for a profit?
What?
Have you sold something for a profit?
Something for a profit.
Yeah. Have you sold something for a profit?
We do
The
that.
first time you make that profit, whether you're 5 years old, 10 years old, 18 years old, 24 years old, there's something that happens in your psyche. But to make the shift from, I've got to work at this every single day, and if I stop working, it stops working, you have to choose to create a business mindset. Everything happens at a choice, and it's only yours to make. No one can force you into it. And many people don't make that choice because it means the moment I've made that choice, I have to do the hard things, the boring things.
The boring things.
To make sure my tomatoes are always on the market, to make sure that my customers know that I have the better tomatoes versus you, and then to make sure that on a bad day, my guys who sell my tomatoes are looked after, and that on a bad day I can shift to potatoes. Does that make sense? I don't know why I chose tomatoes.
Alright, so Mr. Gandari, maybe I would just give this question to both of you. So one of my key takeaways in your answer was sustainability. So how do you factor in sustainability in this Zimbabwean ecosystem where people are struggling to survive and they're fighting to survive?
I think we have to define carefully the difference between sustainability and resilience.
Resilience.
Because we have these big agendas right now, right? We have ESG, and that talks about sustainability, but that's not necessarily talking about what you're talking about. Resilience, I think, is a key factor.
It's a key factor.
How do you build in resilience? If price is profit, and you haven't realized that you're making that decision, at some point it'll run out, right? So if your needs in your life are $100, and you have made $100 profit, and you decide to meet all your needs, you're back at zero, which means a bad day, you've got no opportunity, which means that when something happens that could increase your opportunity and you have nothing to do, you're now going to borrow, or you're going to have to pivot, and now you're going to simultaneously start selling tires to try and make enough money to get back to the tomato game. Does that sound familiar to people you know, or maybe even your business or your mindset? Resilience is the choice to leave something there for a bad day, and to leave something there consistently, so when opportunity comes knocking, you're ready to move on to it.
Okay, so Mr. Gandari, what's your take?
I think you make a good point, you make a fair point. Just because you have the money to buy something,
Okay.
it doesn't mean you afford that thing.
You are.
You get my point. Just because I have $1,000 and I have $1,000 on me, that's all I have on me. And if I buy, let's say, an iPhone 17 Pro Max or whatever it is, and I have it, but now I'm back at zero, so I have the money to buy it, but that doesn't necessarily mean I afford it, so now you have to know that when you're doing business, right? Just because you have the money to buy something doesn't necessarily mean you have to buy it, so you got to work through your business, you got to manage your finances well, right? So I think the key is on finance management. Yeah, that could be my point.
Okay. All right. So this brings me to one of my, interesting questions. So, in business, you consider scalability from the start. So, how do you establish a strong foundation for scalable business operations in the future?
Okay, scalable business operations. I hear these things a lot. I think the very first thing you need to do is when you get into business is to do your best to stretch your imagination to create a longer vision.
Longer vision.
Right, my tomato analogy. Let's say I'm a single mom, right? I've got 2 kids. To ask single mom with 2 kids who has the opportunity, someone's given her some tomatoes on consignment, she can sell them. To ask that lady to now create a 5-year plan seems a bit fortuitous. Yeah. Does she have that reference point? She just wants to get kids dinner, right? And she's not even thinking about paying the supplier. My boy and my girl at home matter the most. But if we go back and now let's say we've graduated this idea, right? And you guys are starting a business and you want to succeed. The first thing to do really is to look into the future. Use your imagination. You don't know where the future's going. Plenty of things have been said about plans, and that no plan survives contact with the enemy. Have you heard that before? But having a plan and planning is super important. So when we start our business today, we're all going to get together and we're going to create a technology company. We can start today with one goal, but if we do not have a long vision, it's very difficult to really build scalability. The decisions you make, Elon Musk is, I like to believe, I don't know him, I haven't met him, but from what I've read and understood in my dreams, is that why did Elon Musk create Tesla? Was it because he wanted to become a car manufacturer? I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
Why did he do Starlink? Because he wanted to take over the world's Wi-Fi? I don't think so. Why did he drill massive holes under Los Angeles? I don't think that has anything to do with him wanting to be a digger. I think Elon Musk has a very long vision to live on Mars sustainably. And to live on Mars sustainably, he needs batteries, machinery that can run on high release batteries. He needs to be able to dig holes so that we can live in caverns underground that might not be sustainable for life. He needs communication, and he needs the ability to travel from planet to planet. But for our silly little minds trying to sell tomatoes, that might seem a bit ridiculous. But you got to start somewhere. Does that make sense? So the first thing to me to build scalable businesses is to make sure you have a vision that you can think towards. The second thing is to make sure the things that you are doing are not super complicated, that you need super complicated people to execute. Bring things down to its lowest common denominator. I don't have a high education. I didn't finish O-levels. So I come to the world with a very different viewpoint because I hear you guys at uni doing what you're doing, and I'm like, damn, I'm done. But the reality is I didn't come in with any predefinition to what I was. I just know that I'm very lazy in my mind, in my thought process. I want freedom for my life. And therefore, anything that I'm going to get involved with, I need someone else to get it done for me. Therefore, I can pay a very, very, very expensive person to take my thoughts, put them into an idea, create a process, and then deliver a result. Or I can do the little bit of work to be clear on what I want, make it as small as possible, write a training manual, be able to teach how to do it, and then anyone from a 16-year-old, don't employ 16-year-olds, from a 16-year-old all the way to a 70-year-old man in retirement could probably do what I'm asking him to do to achieve my goal. We talked about McDonald's. The scalable nature of McDonald's is that 18 to 19-year-old men and women have been flipping and selling burgers, stocking shelves, cleaning equipment in thousands of restaurants worldwide to create McDonald's billions of dollars over time. But I doubt you'd find anyone with an average age over the whole of McDonald's of more than about 36 years old.
Yeah, you make a pretty fair point. Yeah.
Like, when last did you hear an MBA student?
And why is that so?
Why is that so? Because dead simple. They're dead simple. Everything in McDonald's is in a training manual. There's nothing that needs your thought. There's only so many weird interactions you're going to have with a customer when ordering a Big Mac. There's only so many varieties McDonald's will challenge you, will allow you to have on your Big Mac. You want less lettuce? Okay. Gherkins? Okay. You want more sauce? Okay. Big Mac's a Big Mac. Big Mac in South Africa? I was going to say Zimbabwe. I wish I had. Zimbabwe, it's the same in South Africa as it is in Japan. Why? Because it's the same everywhere. The machinery they use, the Taylor's ice cream machines, the same throughout.
All right. So you talked about Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is doing what is calling in situ resource utilization, where if maybe, let's say you have a mega construction project, you have to identify areas which are closer to your construction site with the exact resources that you need. Maybe you're using satellites to detect whether you have metals, you have concrete, you have whatever you need. So that involves a lot of planning, and you were talking about planning. So what are the key planning tools that are in your toolbox that you use to grow businesses sustainably?
Okay, so I use a framework. It's something that me and a good friend of mine set up while smoking a cigarette under a car shade. It's called the 4 Ps.
4 Ps.
Okay, so, and I try to keep this as simple as this. And if you speak to any of my team and stuff like that, we could waffle about theory all we like, but when it comes down to it, this is really it, right? What is your product? Number one. You could exchange product with problem at this point. What is your product? What is your problem? You've got to have absolute clarity on what you're doing. Okay? We spoke about your podcast before we started filming. Why are you doing it? What is the purpose? What is the outcome? Ask the hard questions about what you are doing when you're on your own, right? If you have absolute clarity on what that is, you can start moving on to your process. Your process is, how will I create or deliver this product? Or if you exchange product for problem, how will I go about solving sustainably this problem? Okay? Once you've got your process, and there's a wonderful book, I think the E-Myth Revisited, Michael E. Gerber. And I highly suggest anyone who wants to get into business reads that book. Because what he talks about is a parable about a pie shop. It might be a real pie shop, I just never looked into it. And this lady started making pies, loved making pies, got so good at making pies, people started asking for more pies. And then she opened a pie shop. And she learned to run her pie shop. And she called the author and said, hey, I hate pies now, because all I do is make pies. And there's more than making pies. I've got to clean, I've got to order, I've got to deal with difficult customers, I've got to deal with the bank, I've got to deal with tax, my love of pies has died. He said, okay, we need to get you back to solving your problem. So what he suggests when you're building your processes is write out every task that you might need to do to deliver this product, to create it, to solve it. This is a long exercise, and I've done this for a very large business, and this is pages and pages and pages, but it's worth it. And with technology we have now, we can pop it into Excel, we can pop it into AI and ask it to do its jerry magic and deliver us everything we need. Once you have a whole list of the tasks and processes, you have the basis and the foundation of SOPs, standard operating procedures, you have the basis of job descriptions. And then, only then, can you move on to figuring out your people. Okay. In the startup, you guys play in the startup world, you are everything. Regardless of what title you give yourself, if you're the CEO of Mining Corp, that's a one-day-year-old business, and you get a business card, you're also the janitor, You're also sales. You're also the security guard.
Many
You're everything, right? You're everything, regardless of what we do to hype ourselves up. And when you do this, you write out all your tasks and you give every job to yourself. And then you go try and run it. And then as you start running it, you realize my skill set isn't in sales. My skill set isn't in window clean. My skill set isn't in this. And the more I spend time doing things that are not my skill set, that are non-liability tasks, I should probably get someone else to do it. Because if I'm a rock star at sales, don't let me spend hours accounting. Let me get in front of customers. You know what I mean? So now you have a very clear definition of what your product is. You have a very clear set of tasks and processes that you're going to need to do to achieve this outcome. And only then can we start realizing who the people we need on the team to do the processes. I think this is what I talked about when we first met as well. Because that's all I know about, really. And that's a simple planning tool. Then the last P, we'll talk more about people, but the last P is called progress. And progress is what we talked about with Elon Musk, is that you need to have a long vision. Everything you do when you talk about what's my product, what are my processes, who are my people, and what's my progress. Because if you think that selling that 10 tomatoes was your product, and you do all of this, you'll sell your 10 tomatoes, you'll succeed, and then you'll spin your wheels. And then you'll make the mistake of going, and I'm sure we've all heard this. I've spent 32 years in an executive seat in a corporate, and I've made a bit of money, and now I'm going to be a farmer. Now I'm going to be a pilot. And you spent your whole life becoming an expert in something, and now you're going to define yourself as something you're not, which means that in the most successful time in your life, you're going to pivot to doing something that you have no experience in. You're giving away your secret, right? So having the product, having your processes, choosing the right people, but constantly having an eye on the future is what's going to create a resilient and scalable business. That's my planning tool.
All right, so talking about the P's, the product. So I remember Mr. Gandari really contributed in the success of a satellite development project. And there was a lot of planning there. So Mr. Gandari, talking planning, what's your take?